Welcome everyone, Christine here with a guide for Age of Empires 4, Fast Feudal and Fast Castle build order in the game. Fast Feudal is something you can do in every single game and something that you should do, pretty much, because getting to Feudal Age quickly and efficiently is important. The Fast Castle is something you should try to do, but more likely than not, against any decent opponent, it's going to be difficult to pull off because plenty of people like to put early game aggression. I'm not necessarily one of those guys. If I could boom, I would boom. Plain and simple. Now, I've selected the Abbasids as an enemy faction here, just because the AI can do a decent job with them, I feel like, and they feel more like a baseline factions than anything else. I'm gonna play as the English because they don't have any early game benefits. The benefits that they get are more mid to late game with their farms, all that. They do have stronger villagers, sure, that's a defensive bonus. They do have defensive bonus, but they don't have eco bonuses early on. If you're new to the game, like if you're trying to play a civilization that's gonna make it easier for you, play the French or the Rus or the HRE. Those are the strongest early game economies right now in Age 4, especially the Rus. Though the Rus require you to hunt animals, so it is a bit hit and miss potentially. So anyway, I am going to start game. I'm playing against the hardest AI. My goal is to beat it, so I will do that, but the goal is also to do it with a fast feudal and then a fast castle age. Normally as the English you would go for longbowmen. I'm gonna go for knights. I'm not gonna touch the longbowmen. I'm gonna get infantry to build siege engines, to build rams, to do so. But again, if you're playing the English, you would use longbowmen, but this is more of a general guide that's not an English guide. So the first thing you do as you start the game is you get you start training villagers. You get that you take your initial 6 villagers and you put them on your initial sheep. On most maps, you'll start with 2 sheep like this, collect them, send them to the town center, send them to the town center, and then send the scout to do other things. That's just so you don't run out of sheep while while it's running around. Now I want to get 4 villagers on 4 villagers or sorry, 9 villagers. I want to get 9 villagers on food, and then I want to get 3 on gold. So I've gotten 9 food gatherers. I'm going to get 3 gold gatherers right now. If you're playing the Rus, you don't bother with gold in the Dark Age. You get the gold you need by hunting animals, and it's easy enough. Everyone else, get 3 guys on gold. That's enough for you to get into the next stage. So there's some sheep there. So I'm gonna take these 4 sheep, 5 sheep even. Got a sneaky one, isn't it? Now, dependent on what map you're playing and against who you're playing, your build order is going to vary quite a bit. So, anyway, this is something that is going to be near certain. So either, 9 on food, 3 on food, on wood or gold. Depends whether or not you're the Rus. And then 3 more on food. If you get your sheep, like I did here, just put them all on sheep. If not, you might need to get the mill. It depends on your situation, right? Then once I get to 12 on food, I'm gonna put 3 on wood. If you're playing the Rus, you would get 3 on gold. Or maybe you delay it, depends on how cheeky you're feeling like being. Maybe you get more on food, maybe more on wood. Like, there's no certain build order. There's a lot of randomness as well, to work with in this game. So that's something you do have to concern yourself with. So there's the enemy settlement. So I'm just gonna run away from there. All right. So I've gotten to the next stage. I'm gonna get the council hall because any English player worth a damn is gonna do that. And now I'm gonna get 3 guys on wood. Now I've gotten a decent number of sheep over here. So I'm not gonna have to rush for berries. If I had to rush for berries, then I might be slowed down. In this case, I'm not slowed down, so I'm just gonna... actually just gonna send that scout, because like if I can't find any more sheep, hey, having that extra sheep will be nice. Eventually you want to go on berries or deer. If you're the Rus, you go deer, because hey, hunting cabins, right? You build a hunting cabin like I would build a deer if I was the Rus. The fact that I keep mentioning the Rus should give you an indication that how different they are to play versus, well, anyone else. Or how much their bonuses impact their playstyle. Now here I'm gonna get 2 more on gold. So I got 3 on wood, 12 on food, 3 on gold, though 1 is building the council hall. I could speed this up. I'm probably gonna end up at the feudal age at the 5-minute mark. I could do it much faster.
Yes, sir. Would do.
Yes, sir. Poeta. Juende. Firalda.
Alright, so I got housed there for a second, just being a bit distracted. Now once I get 5 on gold, properly 5 on gold, I'm going to... you have a choice. It depends on what you need, what you're going for, what your priorities are. In my case, I'm going to get these 3 on berries.
Huh?
Yeah. Work and day.
And then 3 more. 3 more on wood. Now, you can, if you have a strong kind of bonus like the HRE. Oh, more sheep. Lovely, I've just stolen enemy sheep. So I've been pretty fortunate with that. So 1 more there. Get to 15. Alright, he beat me to feudal age, but I'm gonna beat him to castle age. It does take 600 gold. And again, if I had put more workers on this council hall, if I had done anything else, I could have been faster. Like, if you can get a 5-minute feudal age, then you're pretty good. I got a 6-minute there, but again, you can do it much faster if you so desire. Is it worth it? Not really from my perspective. It's not really worth it most of the time. But it depends, like what kind of opponent you're facing. How much pressure is he going to put on you? Those kind of questions are what you need to answer.
Yes, sir. Where's the holler? Sheriff's hair.
So I'm getting another house there. Now I have 6 on gold. I'm gonna need more on gold. And more on food. Like, I have enough wood gatherers for the moment. And I can get the king's palace. I'm gonna put it next to stone.
Yes, sir. What
And I'm gonna get more gold gatherers because I'm gonna get knights.
What surface?
Yes, sir. Brandy new. Each timber things.
Okay. So get to about 8 on gold right here. Oh, I missed the sheep there. Lovely.
Yes, sir. Yaru to work. On your work, huh?
Alright, got 9 on gold. Gonna get more on food. Just need those extra resources.
What eat you will.
I mean, it's nice getting an extra town center as your castle age upgrade, I can tell you that. Especially with what I'm doing. Dang, the secret, secretly the best castle age night rush in the game. Not really, but still.
Yes, sir.
And this is a really good time. Just keep in mind that I'm not merely getting to the castle age. I'm getting to the castle age with 3 damn stables and enough resources to support those stables.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Maybe not enough food. Alright, I'm gonna let that one finish. Probably gonna be about 10 minutes or so.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna actually send this one to help out. Now, since I am going to attack the enemy and I do need siege, I'm gonna put more guys. There we go.
What needeth be undone?
Less than 10 minutes to get to castle age. If you can get that time, that's a really, really good time. Now, of course, in most games, most opponents will attack you horsemen or with men-at-arms as the Holy Roman Empire. Men-at-arms rush, horsemen rush, Mangudai rush, whatever you want to call it. Lots of people try and put early game aggression on you. It's normal. It does happen in a lot of games. So you do need to expect it, and you do need to play around it. I'm gonna start getting some. I'm gonna start getting some farms. You do have cheaper farms. But at this point, the army that I do have is a fairly strong one. Like with 6 knights. There's very little most people can do against it. I'm gonna get 9. Okay. Yes, I would rather idle my town centers than stop knight production. At least right now. Could have gotten this survival techniques upgrade earlier. And just keep in mind, this is the hardest AI, as the Abbasids, who aren't a complete cakewalk either. And they're not going to be able to do much against what I'm about to do against them. Usually, like if you're going for a night rush, you do want to get a blacksmith. The reason is you want to get some upgrades. A wolf stands in my way. Okay. And all we need to do to win is destroy that House of Wisdom. Oh, they actually get horsemen. That's interesting, but it doesn't matter. Call me a bit of surprise, really, though.
Some work. Every job intended.
See to work,
Alright.
ready for Hestes.
Stay to work.
So I want the blacksmith, I want to get the siege engineering upgrade so I can construct lambs with my infantry.
Nu, andente to serve. Grites, reflegio. We have got it. Now, Sweden, my oxeo tender. Grites, ja. Dute is none more dead. Obeisance is on of you. It's living you hear them.
Lift the foot first, Freckes.
Nimende to Moskajarwas. Look at you be at the ready, Freckes. Grites, stand in
So the AI is getting some.
Experiment, ja.
Some spearmen after trying to be cute with those horsemen. Normally I see the AI in like 99% of games I've played so far against AI. They've always gotten spearmen. Now I can't really deal with that town center, unfortunately. Not as things stand right now. Population capacity reached.
What needeth work? What needeth be undone? See to Hestes.
Sperre.
Sperre, man.
Let us be that thou art
Grites, in the sun. Grites, andente to servant. See they to. He'll do that too. You can see over there. What we will see for actors. There, Sweden, let us get tender. Alla Grites, ja. Alla Grites, ja. Admina ward.
Alright, so get that ram going, get another one, and another one once we get the bit more wood.
Sperremen, Yara.
It is seated for
Yolate rush, men-at-arms rams, or early knights rams. The crazy thing about knights is that there is no way to counter them. At least not at this point. You just don't have the economy to mass the spearmen in the large numbers that you need in order to win against them. Oh. But the AI is using its villagers, I'll give it that. So this is how you play the English. Well, you would normally want to get men-at-arms, want to get longbowmen. If you're now getting longbowmen, go for men-at-arms because you get early men-at-arms. Like what I'm doing is a very risky affair in most games because I'm waiting because I can't train units from those stables that are warp. I mean, I could get horsemen, but that's, you could just get men-at-arms. They're cheaper than knights, faster to produce, and you can get them early. Camels. Oh, did they just majorly buff camels? It feels like from the technical stress test, but it doesn't matter. I've won with this build every single time I've played against the hardest AI. So, fast knights, fast feudal, fast castle, fast knights. The AI can't beat you. Or you can use it as a template. The fast feudal, you can use it as a template to figure out, okay, if I want to get longbowmen, how would I go about that? Well, you probably would want to get to only use those 3 villagers on gold. Like you still want to get some villagers on gold, those 3 that I mentioned. Get those 3, and then just put a lot more on wood because you will need the wood, and you will eventually get you will eventually get to the castle age regardless, because you are still gathering gold. And if we can get better longbowmen, then that's great. In fact, if I had gone for the longbow, I guess they got horsemen because they expected me to use longbow. Like the great benefit of the English is you can produce all your military units, or at least your longbowmen, from the council hall, so you don't need to get the archery ranges for a while at the very least. And you can get the barracks if you're dealing with a lot of horsemen and they're too much for your longbowmen, or if the enemy is getting knights, early knights, you can get one barracks, upgrade your spearmen, get spearmen, or get men-at-arms, and to spend some of the gold. Like, these are just examples, just some ideas, right? Like, he fell behind, like, up until that point, we were pretty neck and neck. Like, I was very close to him in terms of, like, feudal age. He eventually actually castle age, but look at that time, 14 minutes. I got it just over 9 minutes. I could have gotten it even faster had I really wanted to, but just getting an age up at the very fast point has no intrinsic value unless the landmark itself is great. For the English, the council hall is not worth getting that quickly. For some other factions, it might be. Like, let me just look at some of the factions that, like, some of the options that are available. So, like, for the English, not worth it. For the Chinese, is it worth it? No. So, just constructing that building faster is not really worth it. For the French, nope. Not really. For the Germans, yes, actually, because if you have enough resources in the radius of the Aachen Chapel, and you put the prelate in, then suddenly all your entire economy, not just a portion of it, is inspired, so it's 40% faster. So yes, actually speeding up building construction is worth it. For the Mongols, not really. I mean, yeah, you can. It's like, oh, you can get the Silver Tree, which is a market. It's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Although getting a market can be beneficial. The Rus, only if you really need defenses. Like, I wouldn't bother with the Golden Gate. I really wouldn't bother with the Golden Gate. Or you could if you're willing to risk it. Most of the time I would get the Kremlin, and I would pop the Kremlin. Like, my game plan is knights, right? So I'm gonna be slower than people who are just getting horsemen or archers on that. So I need something to defend me. So I usually put my Kremlin on my goal line. I've learned that lesson the hard way. Don't put that on your will line, put it on your goal line, put it ideally maybe next to your berries, put it next to a resource that you really need. Gold is the most valuable resource, so most of the time you'd want to put it next to your gold mine. And if you do that, he's not going to be able to do jack with his horsemen or archers or anything he's using to rush you. And that gives you time to get your knights out. And remember, you have early knights as the Rus, so yeah. And then for the Delhi, like, don't play the Delhi, they're pretty awful right now. For the Delhi, it depends. Like, the Tower of Victory might be a really strong late game bonus, but Dome of Fate might be a better early game bonus. And the Delhi really are lacking in terms of early game. For the Abbasids, well, you don't have the ability to speed it up, but you almost always want to go economic wing. So yeah, that's an early game guide for Fast Feudal, relatively Fast Feudal. You can do it even faster than what I've shown, and a fast castle, going into early knights or fast knights. And here's the thing, that was just an example as the English, which aren't really built as a knight civ. If, as the French, this is even more potent because you do have that early game economic bonus, so you don't have the lumber issues that the English have because your resource drop-off buildings are 25 wood less, so you can get more houses on that. You might even delay wood. You might not even get the woodworker as the French in the entirety of Dark Age if you're playing as them, or as the Holy Roman Empire. Maybe you can delay as well as the Holy Roman Empire for a bit. I'd say as most civs though, getting free woodworkers after you get 12 on food, free on gold is probably the way to go. Though again, it depends. Like, as the Holy Roman Empire, you probably would need less on on food, so you wouldn't want to get those 12 on food. Instead, you would want to get 5 or 6 on gold because your initial prelate is 100 gold. So it's always a trade-off, right? It's always like you play to your the strengths of your civilization. So as the HRE, you need less food gatherers, at least initially, more gold gatherers. As the Rus, you wouldn't need any gold gatherers until you're in Feudal Age. And then you get some of them, maybe many of them, so you focus on food and wood. Like, there's a bunch of options for every civilization that has an early game eco bonus, and that's the HRE, the French, and the Rus. The others, yeah, not quite as much, honestly. Like, for the others, for the Delhi, for the Abbasids, you would, if you're doing what I just did there, that's probably the best thing you can do for yourself in terms of getting your early economy going. And once you're in Feudal, like, you don't need to go, like, you know, Feudal and Fast Castle and Knights. You can just play in Feudal. You can put Feudal aggression. Like, the Mongols are the ones who do this because they can get early horsemen, right? Now, I'm not fond of early horsemen. It's like the equivalent of Scout Rush in Age of Empires 2, and like in Age 2, it doesn't really work, but it's actually more expensive to pull off because those horsemen are 100 food as opposed to 80 food in Age 2, and they're also 20 wood. And wood is actually a resource you really don't want to bother with most of the time. Like, I had the game against the Mongol, he rushed me with 4 horsemen. He did move me off my wood line, but it didn't matter. I was playing the Roost. It didn't matter because by that point I was getting my Kremlin almost done. It's like, what is he gonna do? He couldn't get to my berries. He couldn't get to my gold in that particular case. He was able to raid some of my hunting lodges in my wood line, but I was able to throw him off. And that's the thing. Like, there's issues with that. I think Dark Age rushes or Feudal Age rushes are not really gonna work quite as well. I do think you can be aggressive in Feudal Age, but there's a difference between aggression and rushing for it. I think you're much better off if you can pull it. But there's always a risk, right, with pushing for, say, getting knights in the Feudal Age or getting from Feudal Age to Castle Age quickly. There's always risks with that, and you should understand that. Costin here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, and stay tuned for more.